game.
A bunch of buzz around that chest
Got
check.
10 times better over the
High
offseason.
forward Kennedy Carter.
That was very efficient. The first game she was
To
6
the occasion, the moment.
Classic Caitlin Pow is going to learn, please, that you...
Like, obviously, Caitlin...
It's got a 1-point win, their first home court victory.
Go out that way.
Takes foul there, but you can't do. Big difference from
Didn't back down.
the bottom to make that pass.
They really made a name.
Fever in the Chicago sky here. The Fever.
For one moment and one player in
pain after that fingertip in the eye or right
Caitlin
around.
Clark is going to be looking
The Shields and...
Deciding to reset things. Step back triple.
The WNBA is no stranger to controversy, but few storylines have stirred the pot quite like the treatment of Indiana Fever's rising star, Caitlin Clark. A recent clash between Clark and Las Vegas Aces player Taylin Powdrell, known as Pow, has once again ignited a firestorm of debate around the league's officiating. In a video now making the rounds online, Clark appears to be clearly fouled by Pow. But to the shock of fans and analysts alike, the whistle went against Clark. No review, no hesitation. Just a call that many believe was flat out wrong. This wasn't just a preseason moment. It was a spark to an already raging inferno. Because this isn't new. This is part of a disturbing pattern. Since stepping into the league as a rookie in 2024, Caitlin Clark has taken hit after hit, literally. She's absorbed an alarming number of hard fouls, many of which were never called. At one point, she accounted for a staggering 17% of all flagrant fouls across the league, a stat that left even veteran analysts stunned. So, what's really going on here? Is this just tough basketball, or something more? In this video, we're diving deep into the Pow incident, uncovering the broader pattern of questionable officiating and asking the bigger question: why does this keep happening to Caitlin Clark? And what does it say about the WNBA?
You know, nothing's better than some good old-fashioned competition out on the basketball court. And that's what you saw in the Dream Fever game. But one moment and one player in particular stood out and deserves her own shout-out, and that's Tahina Pow of the Dream, formerly of South Carolina, who rose to the occasion, the moment, didn't back down, went right at Caitlin Clark. Obviously, Clark not known as a defensive stalwart necessarily, but nonetheless, a huge figure in the game, an obviously awesome player. And when you're somebody like Pow, who's a rookie, and really, you know, all the rookies battling for roster spots in the WNBA for the most part, to come out and show out that way really made a name.
The now viral incident with Taylin Powdrell took place during a May 2025 preseason matchup between the Indiana Fever and the reigning champion Las Vegas Aces. Caitlin Clark, known for her explosive offense and deep-range shooting, was driving hard to the basket when Pow stepped in. The footage is clear. Pow uses both hands to halt Clark's momentum. That kind of contact? Most would call it an obvious defensive foul. But instead of blowing the whistle on Pow, the referee called the foul on Clark. The reaction was instant. Fever coaches leapt off the bench in protest. Fans in the arena and online were stunned. Pow had two hands on Caitlin. How is that a foul on her? One fan posted, echoing. The outrage across social media. And it wasn't just the call. It was how it was made. The referee seemed to blow the whistle without thoroughly reviewing the play, without even considering the context. To many, it didn't feel like a mistake. It felt like déjà vu, because this wasn't just about one bad call. It felt like the latest chapter in a story that's been following Clark from the moment she entered the WNBA. To understand why this moment hit such a nerve, we have to rewind. Back to 2024, Clark's rookie season. She came in as the #1 overall draft pick, a college phenom with a highlight reel that never seemed to end. And with her came a tidal wave of attention. Her games broke viewership records. One matchup, Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky on June 16th, 2024, averaged 2.25 million viewers, a jaw-dropping 225% increase over the WNBA's regular season average. But that spotlight? It came with a price. Opponents played her hard, sometimes too hard. In just her first 11 games, Clark was fouled 46 times, the third most in the league. She also committed 32 personal fouls, showing she wasn't afraid to play, physical herself. But here's where things get serious. It was the flagrant fouls, the ones deemed excessive or dangerous, that raised red flags. By the end of her rookie year, Caitlin Clark had been the target of 5 flagrant fouls. 5 may not sound like much until you realize she absorbed 17% of all flagrant fouls in the entire league. But here's the twist almost nobody talks about. 4 of those 5 flagrant fouls came from one team, the Chicago Sky.
Indiana Fever just won what I thought was a pretty easy game against the Atlanta Dream, but I want to focus on Caitlin Clark because I think she's gotten 10 times better over the offseason. The number one thing I like about Caitlin Clark in these first 2 preseason games is that she's been very efficient. In the first game, she was 6 for 10, second game 5 for 11. She could have got some more shots up, but the shots she did get up, she made the majority of them. And I also like the fact that Caitlin Clark has been making use of the players who are going to run the floor. We talked about it all over the offseason. Like, obviously, Caitlin Clark is going to be looking to push
The Chicago Sky became a central figure in the Caitlin Clark foul controversy, following several incidents that raised questions about officiating on June 1st, 2024. During one play, Sky guard Kennedy Carter delivered a hard shoulder check to Clark's back, knocking her to the floor before an inbound pass. Initially ruled a common foul, the play was later upgraded to a flagrant 1 violation after review. Despite the escalation, Carter faced no in-game consequences. Clark downplayed the incident, saying, "I wasn't expecting it. It is what it is. It's a physical game." However, the hit sparked widespread outrage among fans and drew strong criticism from Fever head coach Christy Sides, who called it a non-basketball play that should have been addressed immediately.
A bunch of buzz around that chest check that Caitlin Clark got from Sky forward Kennedy Carter. It was ruled a flagrant 1 foul after the game by the league. Bottom line, Indiana got a 1-point win, their first home court victory of
Just 2 weeks later, on June 16th, Sky rookie Angel Reese struck Caitlin Clark in the head while attempting to block a layup. After review, the foul was upgraded to a flagrant 1. Both players downplayed the incident. Reese described it as a regular basketball play, and Clark agreed, saying it was simply part of the game. However, many fans weren't as quick to dismiss it. They criticized the referees for their delayed response, arguing it showed a concerning hesitation to protect Clark on the court.
That's right. I think it'll be upgraded here. And, she gets a really...
And just when you thought things couldn't get worse, another incident involving the Chicago Sky on August 30th, 2024, intensified the controversy. Diamond DeShields collided with Caitlin Clark, sending her sprawling to the floor. Although the Awe foul was later upgraded to a flagrant 1, DeShields faced no immediate in-game penalty beyond the original call. This recurring pattern of delayed foul upgrades, where flagrant fouls were only acknowledged after post-game reviews, frustrated both fans and analysts alike.
Fever in the Chicago Sky here. The Fever really stretched out this one as we look at Diamond DeShields and...
WNBA legend Rebecca Lobo provided some context, noting that Caitlin Clark's 5 flagrant fouls in 32 games weren't historically unusual. Satu Sabali had 4 in 38 games in 2023, and Ariel Powers had 5 in 35 games in 2022. However, Lobo didn't address the fact that most of Clark's fouls came from a single team, which sparked speculation about her being targeted. But here's the big part. Many of Clark's fouls weren't called at all, raising serious questions about referee oversight. One glaring example happened during the Fever's playoff game against the Connecticut Sun on September 25th, 2024. Clark was poked in the eye by Sun guard Deanna Carrington while trying to make a pass. A clear foul that went completely uncalled.
In pain after that fingertip in the eye or right around it with no whistle.
The incident drew comparisons to an earlier moment when Clark herself was criticized for an uncalled foul on Deanna Carrington that knocked out her contact lens. Another missed call in the same game occurred when Dana Bonner collided with Clark during a three-point attempt, causing her to lose her footing. ESPN commentators called it an obvious foul, but the referees disagreed, leaving Clark to plead her case with no success. These missed calls weren't just frustrating. They fueled a growing narrative that Clark was being unfairly targeted, with referees either unwilling or unable to step in. But here's what they're not telling you. The problem isn't just about Clark. The WNBA's officiating has been a broader issue, with fans and players across the league criticizing inconsistent calls. One fan summed it up perfectly. They are horrible, missing blatant fouls, then calling touch fouls. It's absurd how bad they are. But I don't fully blame them. They probably barely get paid. WNBA referees earn around $420 per game, significantly less than their NBA counterparts, and lack the same level of training and resources. This underinvestment in officiating has led to widespread criticism, with fans arguing that as the league grows, fueled by stars like Clark, it demands better officiating. The Steffi Powell incident, where Clark was called for a foul despite appearing to be the victim, feels like a microcosm of this larger problem. The referee's quick whistle, without any apparent review, echoed the missed calls from 20-day 24 and left fans wondering if Clark is being held to a different standard. Things take a shocking turn when you consider Clark's technical fouls. Some argue she's unfairly penalized for her fiery demeanor. In 2024 alone, she racked up 6 technical fouls, just one shy of a suspension, for actions like slapping the basket stanchion or arguing with referees.
The bottom to make that pass.
Clark being guarded, bucks it away. Here's Harris, the foul. Harris will
In the 2025 preseason, Clark received another technical foul against the Atlanta Dream for throwing the ball at the stanchion and exchanging words with the referee. Clark herself questioned the validity of some of the calls, and some fans have concluded that the referees are simply fed up with her. But maybe if the referees were better, the game would be different. The perception that Clark is both underprotected from fouls and overpenalized for her reactions has created a strong sense of injustice among her supporters. And the reason why might surprise you. Some fans and commentators have speculated that Clark's treatment is influenced by her status as a white, straight player in a league where racial and cultural dynamics are frequently discussed. At the same time, Clark's unprecedented popularity makes her a target for jealousy or resentment. After all, she's widely credited with driving the WNBA's recent surge in viewership. The league has denied any bias, and there is no evidence of an official investigation into Clark's officiating, despite viral claims suggesting otherwise.
Takes foul there, but you can't do. Big difference from the pros. There's transition, take college there.
Here's the most important part. The WNBA's handling of Clark's fouls and the broader officiating crisis could have serious long-term consequences. Clark is a generational talent whose presence has brought millions of new fans to the league. The Fever's valuation jumped to $90 million in 2024, largely because of her impact. But if fans start to feel that Clark is being unfairly targeted or left unprotected, they might tune out, putting the league's growth at risk. Former NBA player Joakim Noah even suggested that the Fever sign an enforcer to protect Clark, highlighting just how serious the issue is. Luckily, the team already did, and you can bet that enforcer is Sophie Cunningham. At the same time, calls for better referee training and higher compensation are growing louder. Fans and analysts agree that the league must invest more in its officials to match its rising profile. By the end of this, you'll understand why this matters so much. The Steffi Powell incident, while seemingly minor on its own, reflects a larger struggle in the WNBA. Clark's ability to withstand physical play and still perform at a high level, averaging 16.3 points and 6.2 assists despite all the fouls, shows her incredible resilience. But she shouldn't have to be that tough just to compete fairly. The league must address these officiating inconsistencies, not just for Clark, but for all players, to ensure fair competition and maintain its momentum. As the 2025 season approaches, all eyes will be on how the WNBA responds. Will they tighten up officiating, or will Clark continue to bear the brunt of uncalled fouls? The answer could shape the future of women's basketball for good.
Classic Caitlin Pow Pow is going to learn, please, that you coming off the screen, you know this is what she loves. Cece with the handles behind the back.
If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay tuned for more.